Hey everybody, it's Anna. Time for the Thursday card in this week's tarot story. So today we have our second major arcana card, and it is Death. So people often get nervous when they see the Death card, as it makes sense, and whether you think it's literal death or not, because death really does mark the ending of some piece of work we're doing, and now we're stepping into the unknown, which is always a little nerve-wracking for us, right? The image shows a skeleton knight on a horse. He's coming into town. People are sort of shaking before him, as we might expect. One guy is already on the ground with his crown knocked off his head. And this is what I think is the central lesson of the Death card, which is we are overthrowing an old ruler inside of ourselves, an old tyrant that told us what was possible, that created limitations, what we could do or what we should do, kind of ruling us in our head. And now we're getting rid of that old tyrant and putting in its place we ourselves as the authority. So it's a release of old systems of authority, probably outside systems of authority, and getting rid of them and replacing them with our own, right? So I think of that as the Death card. It's the release of the old system, putting myself in the place of the ruler, right? And the image actually shows a sunrise in the background, which implies new beginnings. And actually we saw that same sunrise in the Temperance card, which we had on Tuesday. So this week is about the old patterns are being released, new balances are being brought to bear, and new things are possible. So what came up yesterday, so we had the Temperance card on Tuesday, which is about finding balance between our divine and human selves. Yesterday was the Two of Wands, which I implied was a kind of diving into our divine selves, because the two is about germination, rooting in. All the activity is underground. There's not activities in the physical world. We're actually letting something happen within ourselves. There's integration happening. And how that can be challenging, because since it's not an action card our minds can see, our minds can sometimes think during these times of integration nothing is happening. They get restless, they want to move forward, right? Well, this card would actually imply that there may be a dictator in our mind that tells us we can't sit still, we can't waste time, we're going to lose our chance. Whatever that is that tells us that we're valuable based on how productive we are, or how effective we are, or how exhausted we are. Whatever the value system is that tells us resting is not part of our plan, it's not good enough to rest, that's maybe a dictator that we're talking about here. And we really do need to get our minds to be released from old systems, because we want the mind to be very responsive to the leadership of the intuition. And that means there have to be times of integration and rest. Otherwise, whatever we're trying to create will not be sustainable. So we want the mind to let go of whatever kind of fear-based leadership is talking to us right now. And it could even be, well, if you're not, I've heard this a lot, if you're not moving, you're harming somebody, like you're causing some kind of harm in the world. And that comes from the idea that people are well based on our ability not to be well, like our ability to keep investing. Somehow that makes other people better off. So if you are resting, someone else is in harm. There's all kinds of weird mindsets that become dictates in our minds that create non-sustainable manifestation. So if we are in a spiritual path where we're trying to create sustainable manifestation, something our own calling is asking of us, then we have to release the old tyrant that tells us we can never rest, and embrace and step into that role of authority ourselves and help our minds learn a new way. And that's what I think the Death card is telling us this time. So see you tomorrow for our final card. Bye.